What the crap's going on? HeirofCarthage here. How are you all doing today? Hope you're doing well. I hope you're having a good week. Enjoyed the weekend. I don't know exactly when this battle is going to show up. I'm doing a ton of recording. It's Saturday for me. Just trying to get a whole bunch done while I have some time. This battle was sent in as part of the Use It, Lose It 2 tournament from Trolley Bully, so appreciate him sending it in. He said it was one of the more interesting round 2 battles, and it is Pergamon versus Pontus. Pergamon probably being the most craptacular faction in the game, of course always has its work cut out for it. Pontus is not a power faction, but they do have some good units, and if used properly can be fairly dangerous. Their infantry is pretty squishy and limited, but their cavalry and support unit picks are quite good. They have access to Scythian horse archers, Cappadocian cavalry, citizen cavalry is an odd pick, must have just been out of money. But yeah, 2 Cappadocian cavalry. We have a few Eastern slingers. They also have access to decent archers. There's 2 Pontic royal cavalry in the back. They also have access to scythe chariots, though I'm not sure what the rules are surrounding those in the tournament. Looks like we've got 4 slingers for Pergamon, a couple on the flank, 2 in the center. There's some Agema spears holding up the center, backed up by hoplites, Galatian swords on the flank, which is an interesting pick because if they get hammered by the Pontic cavalry, that could go south fast. Pergamene noble cavalry here for the general. I don't know if Hippeus cavalry is available for the general, but we got 2 Hippeus lancers, which are generally a better pick just due to cost effectiveness. So 3 shock cavalry from the Pergamenes. Let's see how this goes. So the slingers should be able to help keep the Scythian horse archers at bay, but honestly, if they just come forward and focus fire, the Scythian horse archers could probably get rid of the slingers. It's a matter of whether or not they think it was a useful trade. Probably not. So baiting some ammo out of the slingers, and then it looks like they're gonna head off and come back around. Let's go ahead and fast forward here. Just see if we can fast forward to the point where get to some action. So we're gonna see a little bit of skirmishing set up. So the Eastern slingers are gonna be superior to the other slingers, so Pergamon is at a bit of a disadvantage here. They're going to have to come forward. I missed the skirmisher cavalry here too. There's a Tarentine cav on either flank. I don't know how useful that'll be or not. Got the slingers being pushed back here. Tarentine cavalry coming forward, but dangerously close to the Celtic warriors. Yeah, these guys going to have to get out of there. They did get a javelin volley out of the Celtic warriors. Didn't take any losses, so that's not bad. Let's see how well Pergamon can hold this together. So just a little bit of bait and switch type skirmishing stuff here. Pergamon's never going to be excited about attacking. I mean, these Pontic swordsmen are actually fairly dangerous to Pergamon, whereas normally they would not be very significant. The Galatian swords will do okay-ish against the Pontic swords, but Pontic swords are a little bit more probably stable and reliable, but the Galatians should hit harder on the charge. Pontic swords are just pretty crummy. Let's see. So here comes some hoplites pushing forward. There is a lot of Pergamene infantry. The heavy cavalry is obviously better for the Pontic player, and the skirmishers are better for the Pontic player. The Tarentine cavalry I think would be better used to just hold on to it to the late game to try and keep these heavy cavalry away from your rear. You're going to have Thurios spears. It's 1 Agema spear. Sorry, 2 Thurios spears. 3 Agema spears probably would have been too expensive. So Pergamenes are pushing forward because they're going to be losing the skirmish fight. 1 unit of Eastern slingers taking a little damage here, though. But the standard slingers, they're actually doing okay at the moment. The Tarentine cavalry is continually used for harassment here. It's wasting some jab volleys on the mercenary infantry here. What are they being used for? Are they gonna try and get to the slingers? The Tarentine cavalry is not very heavy, but it did manage to get through. They're going to retreat. They're going to get away pretty decent here, considering that was just a weak skirmish cavalry, so not bad. Kills the charge on the Celtic warriors, who will now most certainly lose to the hoplites. Let's see if the same thing's done over here. They're going to try and pound through the Eastern spears. Yeah, and get to the slingers. So this is going to take away some of the skirmishing advantage for Pontus in terms of slingers. There's still the Scythian horse archers to deal with. The Tarentine cavalry being used to stop the Pontic swordsmen again. Like I said, in late game, those guys may be necessary just due to stop all this heavy cavalry. This Cappadocian cavalry can easily flatten one of the Galatian swords over here. The Hippeus lancers would then be able to try and respond. Tarentine cavalry is going to try and get away. I'd like to see these guys save some of their javelins for the late game, but they are continuing to throw. Pontic swordsmen engaged with hoplites, so I mean a decent engagement so far for Pergamon, all things considered. It could have gone worse. Yeah, the Cappadocian cavalry here just absolutely destroying the Galatian swords and then pulling right through, getting away from the Hippeus lancers, who could easily get overwhelmed. They're definitely going to need the support of these swordsmen and Tarentine cavalry. Right now, I'd like to see the Tarentine cavalry harassing these guys away a little bit, but the horse archer is going to be an issue. Comes a Thurios spear. Looks like it's trying to throw into the flank of this fight. Not a bad idea, but the Pontic swords are going to try and get to the Thurios spear. They're going to charge through the hoplite to get there. So that's going to put an end to that plan. The Hippeus cavalry catches the citizen cavalry there. The Cappadocian cavalry, if it could get attacked by the Galatian swords and held, then they could try and cycle the Hippeus lancers around for another charge. And then the slingers are tearing down the horse archers, so pretty good fight so far. The Pontic swordsmen are breaking through the center on the hoplites, and here comes a citizen cavalry. Pontic royal cavalry, there's two of them. So, like I said, the cavalry is going to be a big issue for... Let's see, there's some Cappadocian cavalry that's kind of being wasted right now in this fight. The Pontic, royal Pontic cavalry getting caught now by the Pergamene nobles, but there's horse archers nearby, and the Pontic cavalry is trying to pull away from the Pergamene cavalry, which if they just give chase, they can do some significant damage to the Pontic royal cav. So that's a good opportunity there for the Pergamene noble cavalry. So let's see. The infantry for Pontus is carrying the day so far. These infantry are kind of sitting still. They're just taking fire. The cavalry over here was actually pushed away nicely by Pergamon. I almost feel like these troops need to just come back a little bit closer to the fight where they're going to be needed. Hoplites holding out pretty well over here. 76 kills. A Thurios spear in a square trying to hold out against two swordsmen. And the citizen cavalry here is able to get into the... Oh, look at this. The Cappadocian cavalry not aware that it's about to get javelin like crazy. So the Cappadocian cavalry getting wrecked right there, and then the Pontic royal cavalry got wrecked for pulling out of that fight. The Hippeus lancers need to get away from these horse archers and post haste because they are starting to take some pretty severe damage. This is actually starting to look pretty decent for Pergamon because they're going to take the mobility advantage away in this one. Cappadocian cavalry is dangerous, but they don't want to take the Hippeus lancers in a charge, that's for sure. We're bringing some more infantry back in. We still have slingers alive, so I think the crafty use of the Tarentine cavalry earlier in this game was very nice on behalf of Pontus. And look at these spears able to support this. The Cappadocian cavalry and citizen cavalry get wrecked. The Agema spears ought to hold out for quite a long time, especially if they can get into a square. Horse archers being pushed back by a Galatian sword. Where did that other Hippeus lancer go? So out here, the Cappadocian cavalry were caught. It's hard to say who's going to win this fight. It could be the Cappadocians, depending on the charge. Here's the other Hippeus cavalry. Oh, this is going to be nasty. The Agema spears have these guys fixed, and this is exactly what Hippeus lancers like. Getting into the back of infantry, the shock cavalry like this. It wasn't the most brilliant charge from them, but they're going to do damage, and they can cycle out and do it again and again. So these Agema spears here will hold out quite nicely because of their defensive stats. The Pergamene general has got to get away from the horse archers. He's being picked apart, but it's definitely looking good for Pergamon here. I would have never expected to really see Pergamon do super well here, but again, the engagements that we got from Pergamon were well done. But I mean, the battle's not over yet. There's still a Pontic royal cavalry here, and it's mopping up one of the Hippeus. It is engaged with a Thurios spear nearby, and it's under battle rhythm at the moment, so it's going to easily finish mopping up that, and there's still a couple of horse archers left. Slingers, though, for the Pergamenes. The Hippeus lancer did actually pretty handily win that fight against the Cappadocians. It must have gotten a good charge. Shock cavalry relies on that charge, of course. The Pergamene general is, he's not dead, which is very, very fortunate for Pergamon. These Galatian swords are badly needed to intercept the Pontics. Yeah, and there's no more rear charges coming from the cavalry, so the Agema spear is going to start to falter. Hoplites, Tarentine cav still around. There's a Hippeus out here that's in decent shape, so now not a whole lot of cavalry left for Pergamon all of a sudden. So Pontus righted some of that wrong, but they're down to 26 Pontic Royal Cavalry here, and these spearmen are actually getting a hold of their Sarmatian archers. The Thurio spears just absolutely chasing. The Pontic Royal Cavalry gets caught here, so a micro mistake. The Thurio spears here are going to make their presence felt, and the slingers, or no, that's horse archers firing back into here. Yeah, so this one's definitely going to swing in favor of Pergamon. So Pergamon, the ultimate underdog in Total War Rome 2, pulling out the victory there. And pretty nice. Like I said, this early performance now, 100 kills on Tarentine Cavalry is really quite nice. I was questioning the use of these Tarentine Cav, but I actually absolutely think that was the right move here. I wouldn't have thought to do that, but there you go. That's why I'm not a competitive player, right? So these mercenary Celtic warriors were held from getting their charge, and then a significant number of the Eastern slingers were killed, which would otherwise have done very well. This allowed the standard slingers to get plenty of kills. Agema spears did very nicely again in that defensive formation, and then really a pretty decent use of their cavalry. And yeah, overall, the Tarentine cavalry did great, did what it needed to do. And then you see a decent performance here from the Hoplites and Galatians, and that was enough to put Pergamon over the top. I would definitely say that just from a tool standpoint, I would favor Pontus, but a crafty battle there played by the Pergamene player. So definitely appreciate this being sent in by Trolley Bully. Hope you're enjoying it. Check the description if you want links to the tournament information. HeirofCarthage signing out. I'll see you next time.